43rd running of SCCA's Runoffs. Last year in Formula 500, pole sitter Michael Brett took his Invader into the lead, but it wouldn't last long. A couple of laps later, Brian Novak took his Nova car to the point, but on lap 10, Mike Baum spun, stalled and couldn't refire. Dangerous place as the leaders streamed by. Novak pitted a broken wheel. He was extremely frustrated, but did get back out. On the restart, Doug Marsh had a little bit of a misfire. It was to be intermittent, however, and a spin shook things up going into the S's. But in the end, that misfire cleared up, and Marsh came back to take the win with Goulet and McMahon in second. The sportsmanship showed as Novak came alongside to congratulate the winner. And for Doug Marsh, that prestigious gold medal was his. Formula 500 is one of SCCA's most cost-effective ways to go racing. For instance, they are all mandated to run snowmobile engines. They also run snowmobile clutches in a direct drive, which means not a lot of gears to be braking, therefore not a lot of expense to run these cars. Steve Jondahl has updated his Red Devil to the new bodywork, and it has been very quick. Last year, he had a great drive at the Runoffs from 18th to 5th. He wants to bring home a gold after chasing it for a lot of years. He's certainly got the speed, as does Jason Knutson, third in the Midwestern Division, and he won the June National here at Heartland Park, Topeka, which means he knows this track very, very well. Another driver that we're paying close attention to is young Brian Goulet. He came out of karts. He's only been running these cars a couple of years, but he is very quick. He's a hungry up-and-comer in Formula 500. But you can't discount the speed and savvy of the veterans, and Mike Brent might define that category. Pole and gold in '97. He was on pole last year and ended up with a bronze. Won the sprints by an astounding 12 seconds. He is fast, make no mistake. As is Brian Novak in the beautiful red Rakovan. He was on his way to a win last year until a broken wheel took him out of contention. He is hungry. And next to him is David Cox. This is a class where you can't do a lot to the suspensions, but as an engineering student, he's trying to find out all the angles, and he's going to try and bring home that beautiful blue Scorpion to a gold. We are at Heartland Park, Topeka for the first time to contest the Sports Car Club of America's National Championship Runoffs, the 43rd running of this prestigious event. And today, it is a class that always produces some great excitement and for a very reasonable cost. It is Formula 500 coming at you from Heartland Park, Topeka. Hi everybody and welcome. We're really excited about this race here. The reason being that this is a class that if you don't have a lot of money and you want to go racing, it's a great entry-level vehicle for you to do it, but a lot of guys stay with it for a long time. I'm Greg Kramer. Danny Binks joining me once again here in the booth, and down in the pit lane covering all the action will be John Bizignano and Jim Trado. And Dan Binks, for these cars, they're really good on tight, busy technical circuits, and that defines Heartland Park, Topeka. This should be fun. Yes, it does. Into turn 1 here, it's a good passing zone. Offline, there's some good grip. Up through turn 5 here, good passing zone. You can get inside if you're careful. A lot of tries of passes in turn 6, but that doesn't work very often, and the bus stop's another place that's good. All right, and obviously, Formula 500, one of the Formula category. Tell us a little bit about those classes and Formula 500 specifically. Formula 500, they all have the same tires and the different chassis. They have the 2 different engines, a rotary valve and a reed valve, and they run 800 and 850 pounds. That includes the driver, so you can be a little larger or smaller and still be competitive. Let's get down to pit lane, check in with John Bizignano. Biz?
Well, you can see how close Clint McMahon's been running this weekend, and that's just in practice and qualifying. He's not at all happy with his 12th place qualifying, especially last year after he finished 2nd in the championship. But he told me something. He said the car has not been working for him all weekend long until the final practice session, actually this morning. Now listen to this, guys. They were 7/10 under the track record. So look for him to be coming through the field. Let's go a little further down the line here to my pit partner, Jim Trado.
Biz, I'm up in the 5th on the grid with Steve Thompson, his first runoffs, and he's up in the 5th position on the grid. I said, how'd you get so quick so fast in your first time here? He said, man, we changed every nut and bolt on this race car. Whatever we could change, we could. I said, okay, what are your expectations? And he said, I want to make it clean through turn 1. We'll go from there.
Jim, that is a remarkable development. I mean, he did not get a win this year in Central Division. He had some podiums, but to have him come alive like that here, chasing these cars, again, Dan, not a lot you can do setup-wise to these cars, which means anything you can do can pay huge dividends.
Yeah, the tire pressures are really critical. You can see some guys are starting on brand new tires, and other guys are starting on scrubs. They might, the scrubs might come in a little bit quicker, but we'll see what happens for the stickers on the long run.
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes you roll the dice, and it's a little chilly here. A lot of factors involved in Formula 500. The grid will be coming at you. Welcome back to Heartland Park, Topeka. The Formula 500 cars out on their pace lap. And once again, all these cars powered, they're all running. They don't have to run, but as it turns out, they're all running. It's called the Rotax engine, which is built essentially by Ski-Doo. It's a snowmobile engine. You talked about the two different types of valves that are used in it, and I like the fact that they use the weight with the driver, because that means that you can get in these very light, small cars and adjust accordingly if you're a little bit bigger guy and still be competitive.
Yeah, guys like you and I could drive these. And
well, you see, in my case, you still need the talent, so there's the issue there.
Okay. The difference in the reed valve is it lets the air in but won't let it out to the engine, and the rotary valve actually changes the timing as you let the air in.
All right, well, let's take a look at the starting lineup. And that youngster, Jason Knutson, who had that great year, won the National here, put that to good use, and is on pole. Novak, who probably would have won last year were not for that broken wheel, ends up second. David Cox, the young engineering student, is in third. Mike Brent, a former champion right there. Stephen Thompson, who we just talked about. Jeff Jorgensen, very quick driver. Brian Goulet, John Dahl. Aaron Ellis is a former medalist in this class, too, so there's some real competition. You go back a little bit, we take a look. Clint McMahon, we talked about, he is very quick, but Bob Geeson and Rusty Cook, those two guys are divisional champions, which tells you just how intensely competitive this class is.
Yeah, and coming to a new track with these cars, a lot of guys adjusted and got to grips with the track, and some guys haven't, and now maybe they'll make the big move. They were saying they were fast in the warm-up.
All right, well, there's a look at the rest of the grid. You can see it's a nice size field. Let's get back one more time to John Bizignano. Biz, what's going on?
Earlier you were speaking about the economics of this class, and they're really not too bad for going racing. A car with a motor and a gearbox is about $20,000. That's a car capable of winning. If you want new tires every weekend, that's another $600, and an entry fee is $300. A rebuild on the engine, you really only need one a year, maybe right before the championships, $900. About $2,000 per race is what it costs to go Formula 500 racing. And in big buck racing today, that's just a fraction of the cost, and the fun level is way above the cost. $2,000 a race, think about it.
Hey, Biz, on this end of the pit road, we're worried about Rusty Cook and how he's been able to advance from 16th on the grid. As you mentioned, Greg, he is the Midwest Division champion, winning half of the 10 races he competed in that Scorpion chassis. We got to see if he's got the right package here, guys. Heartland Park, Topeka, new for a lot of these guys, a national level of competition. He's back in 16th. Can he get to the front, and does he have the aerodynamic package if he has to draft with these guys?
Well, that's a very good point. Home is Stone Mountain, Georgia, but he has come up here and done a little running. But, as you pointed out, a brand new track, and with these cars, if you just off a little bit, you can really be chasing things even, with all the qualifying they do.
Yeah, and they only get 20 minutes a day, so you really don't get a good idea how the car is going to be. If we had an hour or so, you could get everything up to temp, try a couple different tires, compounds and things like that, but they just don't have the time.
Well, that's exactly the case. One thing I wanted to ask you about these cars, if you look at the suspensions, there are no shocks. They're not inboard shocks, folks. They just don't have them. Things are very limited to keep the cost down, and that presents some great challenges.
Yeah, they have some bump rubbers that they can use, and they're really strict on what they can change on the suspension. And you can see some of the times the tires aren't all pointing in the right direction, positive camber and things like that. And you just have to deal with it. This class, everybody's got to have the same rules, and cars are all really close to each other.
We talked about those snowmobile clutches. It's a centrifugal clutch, so the clutching is done with springs and weights. And as the clutch spins faster, springs compress, weights expand, and it changes the drive. Some go with a belt drive, as we saw in the one car in the open. The other option is a chain drive, but nonetheless, you'll hear him just feeding the throttle all the time to keep the revs up. Biz.
Dan was talking earlier about how sensitive the tires are on these cars. It's one of the few things that you can't adjust is the air pressure. Now, right now is the first time that I've had my gloves off in 4 days, okay? It's probably over 60 degrees for the first time. These cars have been running at 40 degrees all weekend long. Tire pressure, of course, is very affected by heat temperature. Every car out there is running for the first time with the greatest heat in those tires all weekend long. I think it's a dice roll, guys.
Yeah, it can be. A lot of guys keep notes for all year long and have a decent idea. New track, they've only run 2 nationals here, I believe, and you're just going to have to do the best you can.
Right, and not everybody runs those nationals. You remember, throughout the season, it's in a division. So if you're out in California or out in the East Coast, you may not get here for that national until the championship. So now, everything, that dice is rolled, and now it's time to see how the game plays out. Here we go, green flag, Formula 500 underway at the runoff. That red car on the right is Brian Novak in the Ravicon, and boy, did he get a great launch. That Knudsen-driven Scorpion, the blue car, got swallowed up just a little bit. Brent looks down the inside, and let's see, this first turn, everybody's so far good and through.
Yeah, pretty dicey. They get out in the dirt and gravel and sliding all over. One car off there.
Just ran a little wide, though. Wasn't a contact issue, I don't think. He gathered it back up and stays right with it. So everybody so far is through.
Yeah, I think that was Thompson that put 2 wheels off, maybe even 4 wheels off.
And it's Novak leading over Knudsen right now as we're watching action a little bit deeper in the pack. That gold car is the car of Jeff Jorgensen, who is very, very quick indeed. Right back there, but you can see how far back he is in this mix. But to see Novak go to the front, really, I think he feels he's owed one after that broken wheel. I mean, that happens in racing. But also, they had a very, very creative design to, basically, it was the drive system that they had last year. And SCCA, as we watch this pass coming here, mandated a change to the engine layout. They had to turn the engine around in the car. That car used to be called a Nova car, and when they decided, well, we've got to make that change, now it's a Rackathon, and it's obviously still very quick.
Yeah, when they had the engine turned the other way, it was a big aero advantage. And
whoa, look at this. Sorry, this is very close. That's Mike Brent, the 47, on the outside, and we've got somebody off. That is the 0-1 of Price, and he had moved up to 5th at the start. So one of the front runners now is bottled up and off track.
Yeah, it looks like he has some damage. Banged up the left front. We'll see if it doesn't look too bad.
See what happened here.
Oh, he just got hit.
He got a little help, didn't he?
Yeah, a little help there. Looks like it hit right on the tire.
And he gets it, oh boy, it just turned into a shovel for a minute there, but it's okay. So that's going to shuffle things up a little bit. Novak leads, Cox second. He got around Knudsen, and Knudsen is third. McMahon is in 4th, and then Brent runs in the 5th spot right now.
Man, it looks like Cox is really putting the heat on him.
Yeah, go ahead.
You can see out the back of Novak's car, he's got like an extension, and basically it's got to be flat all the way to the rear tires, and then it's free. So you can see those add-ons that these guys are trying to make downforce.
Well, look at that yellow car that's just coming into frame right there. That is Clint McMahon up from 12th on the grid, folks. And with all of that action at the start, he was able to thread his way through a number of cars, and that was the one that Biz was talking about, was so fast in the morning warm-up under the track record, and he has now come up to 4th place. That is incredible. And boy, those 2 leaders, they had a bit of a gap over that battle for 3rd and 4th. That has evaporated, and we've got a 4-car battle here. And here comes Knudsen taking a run at Cox, excuse me, and he moves to the inside. I don't think he's got enough, Dan.
No, he didn't have enough, but man, that car was fast off turn 6.
Very quick. Now the question is, as we're watching Mike Brent and Brian Goulet right behind him, now we move back up. And as one might have thought, with that attempted move by Knudsen, he lost a little bit. Here comes McMahon trying to dive underneath in the yellow car, couldn't do it. But that's one of the things in these cars, again, very momentum driven. And Knudsen tried that move, then got thwarted. Look at McMahon going right around the outside. So that car is working incredibly well. That gives him the inside into 13, and he's got it.
Yeah, we haven't even seen a pass over there the whole weekend.
No, not at all. I mean, that's just unheard of. And McMahon made it look easy. Boy, what did they put it? Something's going on inside that car.
Yeah, he's jumping around. I'm not sure if something's under the seat or what the deal is. Or what looks like Cox. He's inside Cox, clean. Wow. Man, that car's on the move.
Maybe he was just pumping that throttle for all it was worth. And you hear that. If you listen to these cars in the corners sometimes, while they're braking, they're just on that throttle trying to keep the revs up so those clutches keep spooled up. And Clint McMahon right now, this thing's not a 500. This is a Sidewinder missile right now. Look at him just go underneath Novak. Now that's going to put him on the outside for here. Checks up, squares underneath. Novak shuts the door.
Little high-low move there and didn't pay off yet. But it looks like it's only a matter of time, and McMahon's going to get by him.
He's got super glue on those tires, too. This thing is anywhere he wants to put it. He can. Up behind Novak right now. Oh, and he hit him!
Hit him big
that,
time.
You know what?
Oh, another guy.
Oh, and that may be Knudsen involved.
And it looked like
our
Brett
pole
got
sitter.
clean.
Boy, and I will be willing to bet you that McMahon, for that great drive, I think he may be seeing a flag that's a little darker than he wants to here. That was a pretty blatant punch.
Yeah, it was. It didn't look like Novak got off the corner as good as he could have, but you still have to give the guy room. You can't run in the back of him. 92's off here.
That is Jason Knutson, our pole sitter, and you can see damage to the front of that. And he just kind of got caught up as everybody Novak spun in front of him.
You can just see here he got a run, and he just touched that extension that we talked about earlier and took him right on around, and then nowhere to go, bang, right into him.
Oh, Knutson hit him hard, too.
Yeah, and you could tell by his body language he was not happy.
The question is, Novak then continued, but did he get damaged? You got to believe that right front corner got hurt. Certainly the bodywork did.
Yeah, I think his day is done. He might get to, run around mid-pack, but...
No, he's still leading. No, this is a replay. Sorry, caught me. But there's the damage, and you can see Knutson definitely done, and others involved had to check up. And there's Knutson. Boy, how frustrating. Out of the car from pole.
Yeah, he was, had high hopes, had a really good car, and now his day's done. By nothing he did.
No, not at all. Not at all. Just wrong place, wrong time. Novak, as a matter of fact, now is 7th as they complete that last lap. McMahon leads it, but again, I'm not sure how long he's going to be out front. But tell you what, a guy who negotiated all that traffic beautifully was Brian Goulet, who finds himself up into 2nd spot from 8th on the grid. When Brent checked up, Goulet was able to find a way through, just really hustled it right there. Then that's Brent, the yellow car, all yellow car, running in 3rd. Cox is now 4th, and Steve Jondahl, who we talked about at the top of the show, is up into 5th.
Yeah, and you can see they're showing the drivers here. They're not very happy. Why'd you do that to me?
Well, I mean, as you said, obviously maybe Novak didn't get out of that turn as quick as McMahon would have wanted, but you still just can't drive into the guy behind you. You've got to be a little bit cognizant of those types of things. So we'll see what happens here. A lot of action in the early going in Formula 500.
Joel Palmer decided to go F500 racing because of the bang for the buck. It can almost be considered a economic form of motorsports. But Joe, then you get out there and you find you have no one to run against. What'd you do about that?
That's true. I was the first Formula 500 on the grid in Texas after a few years and started spreading the word on the internet and to my friends and folks at the track. And didn't take long before more F5 started showing up, and now we're up to 5 or 6 cars in Dallas alone and regular fields in Texas of 5 or 6.
Well, you did a great job. There's 27 competitors in this class, all going for the podium here in Topeka.
Well, and he had a good year after getting all those people to come out in Texas region and start racing, which, of course, is part of the Southwestern Division. He ended up winning that divisional championship, so he's working very hard at keeping that class alive and growing it. And again, it is such an affordable class. It's a great opportunity to be going racing with him here, so that's a great deal. This is Chuck McAvee, and Chuck is running out there. He had a win this year, running 3rd in the Southeastern Division at this chasing these cars. And again, just this is an opportunity to get out and run formula cars at a reasonable level, and as John said, the fun quotient's way more than the cost quotient.
Yeah, it is a bang for your buck, and he's from Jacksonville, Florida. He's probably not got grips with this cold weather.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Or this track, obviously that's a long haul to come up. Meanwhile, here are the leaders right now. That is McMahon, who is continuing to lead with Goulet in 2nd. And they are opening it up a little bit over Brent and Cox, the 2 cars behind. And look at that. Cox got a run on Brent, and Brent kind of moved over a little bit. And Steve Jondahl running in 5th is going to like that. And Goulet is definitely hounding McMahon.
Yeah, Goulet, he's qualified 8th, and now he's running for the top spot here.
Yeah,
I think he's got a lot faster car.
He's got a superb car underneath him, and obviously was able to thread the needle of an awful lot of stuff that was advancing. And it looks to me like 34, our leader McMahon, might have a little bit of damage on that right front.
It looks like both the 1st and 2nd car got a little squished nose here in Kansas.
Yeah, and here's Jondahl, and behind him is the 31 of Stephen Thompson, and these guys are having a good scrap too. Jondahl's got it right now in that white Red Devil with the blue stripe, but he's got Thompson coming after him, and this is a very strong battle, Biz.
Hey guys, that damage on the right front of 34's nose, that was actually there before the race from practicing qualifying. But I'll give you another little fact. This is a rent-a-car. He's never driven this car before. That's why they had so much trouble sorting it out. It's the third car he's been in this year trying to qualify for this race. What a great job he's doing.
Yeah, he is, but I'm a little surprised. And a big attempt there by Thompson to dive down underneath John Dahl, but they look like the rear's locked up on him.
Yeah, it looked like he just rushed it a little bit, got on the brakes a little too hard, and cost him a second or so.
As I was going to say, I'm a little surprised that the officials haven't done a little something yet with McMahon. They're obviously, I'm sure, discussing it. Meanwhile, here we go. And Goulet got a great run this time and was able to make the pass into the bus stop, get by McMahon. Now, the question is, was McMahon too tough on those tires maybe in that huge charge in the early going?
He could have been. It doesn't take much to use up the tires, and Goulet, started 8th, and now he's leading.
Brian Goulet driving an Invader, young gentleman who started go-karting, and obviously the transition to this is an easy one in that karting experience, and he just got out of 6 and 7 very well.
Yeah, and he just went right through up into the bus stop here, and he really didn't fight him too much. He knew he was a lot faster.
Well, I mean, you fight, you try and go around the outside there, you're going to go skipping through the dirt in the middle, and then anything you've got going is going to go away. Meanwhile, we drop back. Here is Brent. Mike Brent, 97 champion and pole sitter, the pole sitter at Mid-Ohio last year, sitting in that bronze medal spot right now. But that young engineering student, David Cox, out of Illinois, is really putting the pressure on him in this battle, and not far behind them is John Dahl and Thompson having a strong run as well. As a matter of fact, right now, Cox getting out of turn 2 very well, tucked right up underneath Brent here as we get into the carousel. Brent's car looks pretty good there. A little wiggle, though.
A little wiggle, and that's going to hurt him into the next turn here. We'll see if he can get inside into turn 5.
All right, he opens it up just a little bit. That battle settles for a moment. We're going to step away from Topeka for just a moment, but we'll be right back. A lot more Formula 500 to go. The 43rd running of SCCA's National Championships continues here on Speed. Great to have you with us. This is Formula 500 under contest. Once again, the first time ever run at Heartland Park, Topeka, a brand new venue that is vastly different if you've been here before since Ray Irwin and his team took over. A lot of changes to the facility itself, and the track is absolutely fabulous. And the racing is matching it right now. This is the battle for the lead. It is Goulet, that blue and yellow car up front, and tucked in behind, almost disappearing. He's so close at times is the all-yellow entry of McMahon. And they have been battling like this now for the last couple of laps. And did Goulet just wave him by?
Yes, he did. It just looked like he put his hand up and let out. I don't know if there's something wrong. No, it looked like maybe he just didn't want to lead for a little while. I'm not sure.
I don't know. Yeah, he just waved him by. That was very, very interesting, and that puts McMahon back in the lead, Biz.
Well, Jim Elder is the crew chief for that beautiful 34 car who's leading the race right now. Your man just went back in the lead, but you got a word from him that he's not happy with the straight line speed.
Yeah, we've been struggling all week at setup. This is the first time out here at Topeka. I think he qualified 12th and he got his way up to first now. I mean, we've been getting better and better. Hopefully, I know we can beat him in the turns. If we can stay close enough, we'll get him up the end.
Well, I'll tell you guys, there's still nothing more important than being able to be the fastest man down these straightaways.
All right, thanks, guys. And this is an interesting development here because even though he didn't have the speed, Goulet just pointed him by, and Goulet is falling back. So there is some problem now for Goulet because he's just dropping out of the order. That should put Brent right here up into second, the yellow car, and Cox into third. Now, Goulet is still there, but boy, he has fallen way, way back. I don't know, or is that's a lap car that they're coming up on, so Goulet has just disappeared, Dan.
Yeah, he must have had some problem, maybe the belt. These things have belt drive and chain drive, and if there's a problem with that, your day is done.
And working traffic is Brent and Cox right now as they get through at this stage. This is your battle for, I think it's going to end up being the second spot right now, as Goulet seems to be having some sort of problem. They come out onto the straight. There goes your leader, McMahon. Here's Brent and Cox, and then it's John Dahl Thompson behind them. And, yep, Goulet officially now dropping well down the order. And look at this. Cox tucked right up underneath Brent. And Brent, little defensive line down into 1, and that allows Cox to swing out a little bit. Is he going to straight line him into 2? He did!
Yeah, that was a great move. He tried that earlier.
And now he's got to go defensive, and Brent coming over, and look at them. He's just squeezing him, and makes it. Now Brent, oh, he's way too wide. And, well, he tried to pop to the outside to set something up, and a little bit too much speed, Dan.
Offline is no grip. Absolutely no grip over there, and nobody's been able to make a move going into 3 there.
So Brent making a little bit of a mistake, but obviously was sort of coaxed out there by Cox, and that's what happened. So take another look at it here, and you can see Cox quite defensive down in here, and then Brent goes, I'm going to move out, gone.
Yeah, basically you get the first move. You can take the line, you can take the inside line, and he didn't really block him, and then he shot out to the outside, and there was no grip, and he spun out.
Now, this is the battle as they came. This is what set this all up. Coming out of that last turn, Dan, and you can barely see Cox tucked in behind Brent right now. And, I mean, it's as if they're one car.
Yeah, it almost looked like he touched him there, almost like a NASCAR drafting thing at Daytona. And then he shoots. He tries inside here, I think. He's actually on him.
Yeah, Brent protects to the inside, and a great move by Cox to just say, fine, I'm going to swing out and just use that nice wide arc. And it paid off beautifully. So he is now up into the second spot, and Brent, of course, depending upon how quickly he recovered, we'll have to see where he ends up. So Michael Brent has himself a bit of a charge, I think, to get back up into medal contention. But for this young man, David Cox, an absolutely great drive so far.
Yeah, he's just a couple seconds back from the leader, and he's doing some great laps. Maybe he can catch up.
Mom's sure liking what she's seeing right now, and we'll see what he can do in terms of some lap times to try and run down your current leader, Clint McMahon. But David Cox is on the move. Welcome back, everybody. Here's what's unfolded thus far in a very eventful Formula 500 race. At the start, outside pole sitter Novak went to the lead. Lots of bopping and weaving and changing, but nothing of note. But a big move there as the number 34, Clint McMahon, came from 12th to 3rd, then made the move up into 2nd, and then got into the back of Novak, just drilled him, spun him around, and there your pole sitter, Jason Knutson, nowhere to go. He was not happy, and then a great battle right here is the number 74 of Brian Goulet getting into it and makes the move and picks up the lead. But then right there, waved by McMahon. Apparently something wrong, at least briefly, for Goulet. And then 47 Brent trying to make something happen here in that battle for second. Got it all wrong in the carousel. Gathers it up, but obviously has lost a lot of ground. Is now back in the 6th spot. And there is your leader. McMahon leading now by 4 seconds over David Cox. Goulet now is back on the move, though. Whatever it was, he's solved because he had dropped to 5th. He was 4th just a little bit ago, and now he's back into 3rd. So for Brian Goulet, it's not done yet.
Yeah, I just saw something interesting on McMahon's car. It looked like the rear tire has a shake on it, like maybe he locked it up and you could actually see a little shadow reflection on it. It didn't look like it was tracking around, you know,
right,
concentric.
I got you. Little vibration going on in that car. Here's the 85 of David Cox once again, who that engineering student putting that knowledge and obviously some pretty solid talent as a driver to use here, sitting in the 2nd spot. Problem is a long way to go to McMahon, but Goulet is back up into 3rd. He is flying right now and trying to chase down Mr. Cox. Jim?
David Cox's mom, Teresa, is anxiously watching her son come past. And are you able to breathe at this point in the race, Teresa?
Not yet. When the checkered flag's out, I'll breathe.
I understand he's been racing with you as a family since the age of 8, but this is his first year in a car. This is amazing to be here at the Runoffs, isn't it?
It is amazing, but if you know David, he's an amazing kid, and it was his dream, and he chased that dream all year.
They're anxiously waiting here at the wall, guys, for the laps to count down and the margin to close, and the 2nd place runner right now.
Well, Jim, I think it's going to get a bit more anxious for him because Brian Goulet is up to 3rd, and he is flying right now. He's turning the fastest laps of anybody on the track by over half a second, and he is quickly coming after David Cox as they come down the front straight. There it is. That's your battle for 2nd, and it is Cox up front. Goulet comes by, makes the big move. Boy, did he have closing speed, Dan.
Yeah, I don't know what happened earlier, but whatever it is, it's fixed now. And, oh, man, he carried a lot of speed in there. I'm not sure he can catch McMahon. He lost too many seconds there. He's about 3.5 seconds back, but we'll see what he's got.
Now Cox tucks right back in underneath, and this battle biz is superb.
Well, Brian Goulet, the problem was with the motor, it's just cut out on him in several places on the track. he radioed into the guys. They said, well, obviously, don't come into the pits. Don't come in the pits. Your race is over if you come in here. He stayed out. Right now, the problem has cured itself, but he's sitting there just waiting for that misfire to come back. So he's moving towards the front right now. The motor is strong.
Oh, it's incredibly strong. He just turned the fastest lap of the race, a 44.4. And guess what, folks? That is almost a second faster than the qualifying lap record. So that car, whatever it was, it cleared itself and it turned into a missile.
Yeah, he's on a mission, and McMahon better be careful here. A second a lap, that's only 3 laps. We have 7 left, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, if that car doesn't redevelop that problem, I think Brian Goulet is in with a shout here. I mean, there's the margin. McMahon, and there is Goulet. Look how quick he has cleared David Cox. Goulet is flying, folks. Don't go anywhere. I think this is going to get real fun. It is SCCA's National Championship Runoffs from Heartland Park, Topeka. Great to have you with us, everybody. And there's lots of good battling going on. There's the 03, the white car of Darrell Greening, right in the middle of a battle with Herb Noble and the number 24 of Don Clark. They're having a great scrap right now for that 20th position. So no matter where you are on the track, everybody finds somebody to race with in this category. And it is a great show everywhere around the track. But speaking of great shows, the show right now is Brian Goulet. The last lap was a 44.6, only 0.2 off his track record that he had set the lap before, and that 3.5 second margin is gone, and the lead may be gone. Here he comes down the inside. Unbelievable, the run that Goulet has put together. Whatever that problem was, it's cured itself, and he is the fastest car on the track now, easily, Dan.
Yeah, he's pulled out. That last lap was 2 seconds faster than the next closest competitor. So I don't know where it's come from, the tires, whatever it is, he's hit it.
He has hit the combination beautifully here. Both of those cars are Invaders, is the name of the car, and they are both working very, very well now. Ooh, did McMahon almost spun it right there, trying to stay with Goulet, and that tells you how fast Goulet's car is. If McMahon just trying to stay with him, almost looped it, and he launches onto that front straight. Obviously, this lap might not be quite as quick as he was in that dice, but we're sure going to see what kind of a lap time he turned here, just for reference points. 44.4, a 44.6 again he turned. So he is, this is just amazing. He's run 3 consecutive laps, almost a second under the track record.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. And it looks like McMahon, for whatever reason, is slowing down big time. Maybe he started on the soft tires, I'm not sure, but he's falling back big time.
Yeah, he's losing it, and you can see how quickly Goulet is driving away from him. McMahon is second, then this is a lap car, and then that blue car coming in is your third place car in the class. That is Cox, that is sitting in the third spot. John Dahl and Jorgensen round out the top 5. But I'll tell you what, this drive by this youngster, Brian Goulet, very impressive.
Yes, it is. McMahon, you can see his car was sliding loose, and, he just can't do anything with it.
Here's our battle for 7th. Remember, 47, Mike Brent, that yellow car, had that big spin in the carousel when he was trying to stay with Cox at the moment and couldn't do it. And right behind him, that white and red car, is Aaron Ellis, a former champion in this category. Very fast driver. And it is a very, as you can see, it's a unique car. It's the only one that's running with this bodywork. It's a Red Devil, like John Dahl's car, but he's got the AE03 bodywork on it. Very creative body styling. And if you look at the back, you see some holes at the back deck, doing everything they can to create a sort of diffuser to work with these cars.
Yeah, I think they're trying to let air out there. You can see it comes in right behind the, right in front of the number there, and then lets it out over the diffuser, trying to suck it closer to the ground.
Yeah, literally trying to extract air, and he is all over the back of Mike Brent right now in this battle for the 7th spot. Brent, a former national champion in this category, was the pole sitter last year, and this is, he ran a little wide there. And Ellis, he had made up some ground, but then carried a little bit too much speed into that 11th corner. And Ellis alongside. I think Ellis realized, I'm going to end up in the wall if I stay there, tuck back in, live to fight another day. Boy, did he get a run though?
Yeah, it looked like Brett messed that corner up big time, and he just drove right by.
I wonder again if we're talking Brett's tires maybe going off just a little bit, and obviously that's going to cause you to fade in a big hurry. Aaron Ellis takes advantage. He moves up into the 7th spot. Brent slips to 8. Brenkus and Novak hanging in there in 10th.
In Formula 500, each team is required to use a Rotax snowmobile engine. They also have some other specifying components, including this rubber puck. It's a 2-inch by 1-inch rubber suspension component. That's all they get. No springs, no shocks. So it can be a bit of a rigid ride. One of the things these teams have done is they've read through the rule book. They see the interpretation of the rules can be wide and various on the aerodynamic component of these race cars. Now when you look at this one, they want to keep the tail all the way back. They want to keep the air underneath that race car as long as they can. When it comes to the nose of these Formula 500 cars, they certainly have their work cut out for them as well. Many different variations. In many ways, Formula 500 shows more variety and creativity than any open wheel class here at the Runoffs.
Well, when you can't do much with suspension, it's all got to be done basically in terms of your bodywork design to try and affect things. And look at this. David Cox has not only caught, he has gone by the number 34 McMahon. So David Cox now up into silver medal contention. And McMahon's last few laps have been 3 to 4. Well, actually now he turns a 150. So something is wrong with McMahon's car. And you've got to wonder if it's those tires, if you just didn't root them in that amazing early few laps. But now we've got ourselves a new second place and David Cox right back in the mix.
Yeah, one thing about McMahon there is he's in big trouble and he's fighting for a podium position. It looks like John Dole's going to catch him.
Take a look at that, the graphic right there. The leader speed was an 85.5 mile per hour lap. The best McMahon could manage was 82 basically miles per hour.
Yeah, and the right rear tire, there's definitely something wrong. You can see it. It looks like it's got a big flat spot on it.
Boy, and you can hear that if you're standing near the track, and if you're a driver, you feel it right through the steering column, through your butt, the whole thing. It just really vibrates the heck out of the car, doesn't it?
Yeah, with no suspension, basically, you saw those little rubber pucks they showed you earlier. You have, a half an inch to travel, and it just shakes you.
All right, this is a good battle that is going to. That is the Zero of Gieson, one of those national champions we talked about. And chasing him is Tom Hastings in this battle for 12th. Hastings second in his Southeastern division. He too had a couple of wins this year. Very close competition. Back in the order a little bit. Gieson right now running in that 12th spot. Hastings in 13th. And they've been even closer than this right at the moment. Gieson was able to find something and open that margin up just a little bit. And he put that extra bit of roll bar on there. One certainly for safety, but also he's got himself a little camera up there, and obviously he records what he does and then goes back and looks at his own tape. Obviously anything you can do to become a better driver, these guys will do.
Yeah, it looks like he, maybe he needs to smooth out a little bit. He's been off the track there a couple times. They just showed you over the curbs. Just smooth out, look in front of you, and don't worry about the guys behind you.
Exactly. Well, that's what those play the tape.
Right.
You'll see that. You can see what he's achieved in the race. I mean, he started up there, faded back a little bit, and boy, here is Goulet just streaming through traffic. Since he got by McMahon, he has now opened up an 8-second lead over Cox. McMahon has fallen another 2 seconds back. As a matter of fact, Steve Jondal is coming after McMahon for that final medal spot at this stage.
Yeah, he's made a big charge. John Dell, I don't even know where he started 9th, and he's really made a big move. It looks like he's fighting for 3rd right now.
Ryan Goulet, just unbelievable. After he pointed McMahon by when something laid down on the engine for a moment, whatever it was, when it cleared, unbelievable what happened. He has just come on the pipe, as it were, in these cars, and he has been the dominant machine out there easily. Just turns 46.9 and still opens the margin up over Cox and McMahon. We're back at Heartland Park, Topeka, Kansas. There is your leader, the very young and talented Brian Goulet. And boy, has he put a run together here. After a little bit of an engine bobble at one point, it came good, and he has been just driving phenomenally.
Yeah, coming for the last lap. I'm sure he's got his fingers crossed saying, please don't let me down now. Or whatever that miss was or problem with the engine, hopefully it doesn't come back for this last lap.
See that little dark smudge on the nose? I mean, these guys run close. That's probably from the rear tire of somebody else working through some traffic in the earlier going. He's got a great run going. David Cox sits in 2nd, but the battle for 3rd, the bronze medal, is going to be interesting, I think, as well. Well, actually, McMahon now opens it up just a smidge. Here's Aaron Ellis with Brent right behind him for 7th. So these guys are having a good run.
Yeah, for the last lap here, Ellis is making the charge. I'm not sure you can get him right here, but they're going back and forth. That's actually Brent, I think.
Brent, yep, the yellow car is trying to find a way back around Ellis after Ellis made that pass. In front of them is Thompson, then Jorgensen is the 5th place car. Jondal and McMahon are going to be duking it out for that last bronze medal spot. at this stage, but Ellis having a strong run here. Again, working with his new bodywork, trying anything and everything they can. As Jim Trado talked about earlier, you've got to get creative in this class in terms of the bodywork on the cars to manage the air.
Yes, you do. Just trying to get the car stuck to the ground as best you can. Any more downforce you can get makes the tires not wear as much, and it's a big deal in this class.
Better stick in the corners, better acceleration in or out of the corners, better braking in. I mean, it affects every area of performance. And Aaron Ellis, that Red Devil with that interesting and unique bodywork, continues to hang on. Meanwhile, Goulet, 8 seconds he has in hand right now over the field, and he is going to win this one easily, barring some sort of absolutely bizarre last corner incident. And Brian Goulet feeds the throttle on that Invader, and down the front straight he comes. Just an incredible run for Brian. Couple of wins in Central Division this year, but this is the big one, and he is a national champion in Formula 500. His first year in cars, too, as Biz told us, out of karts. That is a tremendous achievement for this young driver. Just an incredible story. David Cox, another great story. The young engineering student comes through in second, and McMahon with that contact early, but still in all, up from 12th to 3rd. Pretty impressive. Let's get down to Biz.
Tim, after that off-course excursion, did you ever think you were going to be sending your brother over the finish line as a winner?
No, it's my son, but nope, I didn't. We just hope for the best. That even makes it
more important.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. We worked so hard all year for this, and so many people sacrificed a lot to get us here. It's awesome.
What was he saying to you after that off-course excursion?
He had just lost power. He wasn't sure what happened. He was going to bring it in. We were going to check his plugs. We thought maybe a plug came loose. And all of a sudden, he stayed out. He said that the power picked back up, and he's got it, and he just worked his way right back through the pack again.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
You can hear the emotion in Dad's voice. This is a very, very important deal. And for a young driver on his way up, perhaps into a career in this, that means the world. He is a national champion, and we'll talk to him when we come back. The Formula 500 National Championship has been settled here at Heartland Park, Topeka. Here are the unofficial top 5: Goulet, Cox, McMahon, John Dahl, and Jorgensen. Let's get down to John Bizignano with a very happy winner.
Brian, I wanted to ask you, what did you think when that engine went sour and you went straight? You actually waved the second place car by.
I thought my race was over. I don't know what happened. I was just going down the front straight, and all of a sudden, whoa, the engine just died on me. I lost it. I was about to come into the pits, but I get onto the back straight, and it finally kicks back in, and I'm like, okay, I'm not coming in now.
Well, how about the pass? You made several of them, but the pass for the lead.
Oh, it was amazing. It was a real hard pass. He was fast. I didn't think I was going to be able to get him. I thought I was just going to follow him and wait for him to make a mistake, but the car was fast, so I went for it.
You understand how fast you were? I think you set several track records.
No way.
Yes way. Congratulations on a great victory.
Thank you.
No way. Oh boy. Yes, in fact you did. And there is the winner's checkered flag. Just an incredible run by Brian Goulet. And the irony is here, he's from Mid-Ohio. It's his home track, and he makes the track here in his first year driving cars, his first year in SCCA's national championships, all the way to Topeka, and takes a gold. Youth movement was served here. David Cox, another youngster, in second. Then Clint McMahon, that great drive, up from 12th. Steve Jondahl from 9th. Jeff Jorgensen up from 5th. Obviously some great stuff. We saw Bob Geeson, that great racing he had. Rusty Cook, another champ, running in the 14th spot. And just some great battles throughout the field. Just some classically great Formula 500 racing. And once that little problem cured for Brian Goulet, he was a rocket. But for a large part of the race, a young man by the name of David Cox was the star. He's your silver medalist with Jim Trado.
David, what a great run for you. I just heard you say to your mom, I just tried to stay out of trouble. How in the world did you ever finish second?
I'll tell you what, we went with the soft compound today, and it was my choice, and I wanted to get out ahead early on, but I just didn't have the straight line speed to get around Novak early on, so about 4 laps towards the end of the race, I was just trying to save my tires. So it was mainly just a tire saving game for me and staying out of trouble. There was a lot going on up in front.
Now, in terms of you trying to get by guys, I mean, there's a lot of action at the start of the race as well.
Yeah. Like I said, just stay out of trouble. If you see a lot of times those guys up in first and second were battling really hard. They looked like they were just on the edge, and sooner or later it happened. I just was a little closer than I wanted to be.
Well, we got his heart rate, but we'll check in now with Mom and Dad, Teresa and Brett. Brett, we'll talk to you. He said since the age of 8, he's been making your heart race as a race driver.
Yeah, it doesn't get any better. And I talked to a buddy pitted next to us. His son's 35 and still races, and he said it doesn't change. So I'm not counting on any changes. We're just proud of him. He had the good Lord riding with him, which he always does.
Congratulations, guys, on a great run. Biz?
Certainly not happy with your qualifying position. You said you were going to go towards the front, which you did. What happened during that off-course excursion there?
I think
John
on off-course excursions at some point, I must have caught a rock caught up in the rear of it or something. It just kept ratcheting and ratcheting in the rear. My final drive was every turn I came off of it just ratcheted, and you go to get on the power too hard whenever one of these belts are ratcheting like that, you can not see the end of the race, you know, so I just got to...
Congratulations on a great third place. A lot of work went into it.
Thanks.
Danny Binks, you old eagle eye. Well, you caught that. You saw that thing vibrating it up, and obviously played havoc with him. He was so fast early.
Yes, he was. He bumped into Novak there. That was unfortunate, and I'm sure that they'll have some words later on.
Oh, yeah, they'll settle it one way or the other without doubt. Thanks for joining us here for Formula 500. For Danny Binks, John Bizignano, and Jim Trado, I'm Greg Kramer. Brian Goulet, what a mission accomplished.